Snoring may seem harmless, but did you know that it could actually be wrecking your health? Today I'm here with Dr. Kennedy, the inventor of the beauty balloon, and we're going to talk about why snoring might be a little bit more complicated than it sounds. Dr. Katie, I want to thank you so much for being here and just helping us understand what's actually going on here because I don't think many people know. I don't think that they take it seriously. It's a problem that they don't like. They don't appreciate maybe when their spouse makes fun of them because they keep waking them up or, something like that. But it's far beyond that. First and foremost, how does snoring affect the quality of our sleep, especially the deep restorative sleep that so many of us need for optimal health?
You made a great point. We've had a tendency to just look at it as a nuisance and not something that is serious or truly impacting our health, which as evidence-based studies start to show it does. So there is true dysfunction going on when someone is snoring. And that's our body's way of saying something is wrong when you're snoring. What in general the etiology can be is a weak musculature, a weak airway. Our airways are lined by voluntary skeletal muscle. And so you can have atrophy from aging. Loss of estrogen is huge for women. And women in the perimenopause and menopause phase should know that women catch up to men in terms of snoring. And it's related to estrogen loss. This wreaks havoc on our health, from our oral health to our systemic health. You can contribute a lot of this to obesity, high cortisol, insulin resistance, which can progress to type 2 diabetes, hypertension. Not everybody who snores obviously has OSA, obstructive sleep apnea, but you really don't know. And that is another pathway that you could also go down. So if you mouth breathe or snore, you could progress to obstructive sleep apnea. Not only that, there's something else that I think Kimberly is really important to talk about too, is dysphagia, which is a difficulty swallowing too, because if you have a weak tongue, if you have weak oral muscles, you're also, whether or not you really know it or it's manifested fully yet, you can and will likely progress to a form of dysphagia or a pharyngeal dysphagia. And I'm strictly talking about weak tongue. So these are really important oral issues that impact your overall health that I don't think gets enough attention. We're so focused on maintaining our strength below the clavicle, below the neck. We really need to focus on strength above the neck. And that's what my whole platform is all about.
You have an amazing tool that really helps to stop this. But before we go there, if we're
Yeah.
snoring, the mouth is open,
Mhm.
but also the mouth being open while we're sleeping. And people are doing this mouth taping and all of that kind of stuff, which I feel like that would make me restless with that on my face. But regardless, tell us the downside with the mouth
Well,
open and how that's not a neutral. It's not a
it's
neutral.
not a neutral. It's not a neutral. And we're becoming a global society of mouth breathers. I think the last thing I read on this was greater than 60% of people are mouth breathing, either partially or fully. So the issue with that is, number one, mouth tape doesn't solve the problem. It's just putting a Band-Aid on it. The issue is, how is your oral posture? How are you paying attention to how you're breathing? And there's a lot of reasons why people would gradually convert to a mouth breathing posture, which we don't really need to go into deeply because that's another 5 hours of etiologies on that with small jaws or allergies, big tonsils, things like this. You really want to pay attention to how you're breathing. And when you're mouth breathing, you're not getting the benefits of the nasal breathing. We talk about tremendous, tremendous health benefits and immunity that the nose offers that the mouth does not. Key being nitric oxide production. The paranasal sinuses produce nitric oxide. And you can think of nitric oxide gas as your body's antibiotic. It's antimicrobial. It fights fungus, bacteria. And this is what we want. Viruses, it fights it all. So you want to be breathing through the nose, initiating that nitric oxide intake to infiltrate all the way through your lungs, and particularly the deep part of the lungs, that diaphragmatic breathing, because this is where my medical background, this is where most pneumonias will wreak havoc on us, is those lower parts of the lungs. So it's really important to aerate those. And so when you nasal breathe, you're really engaging the lower part of the lungs with that diaphragmatic breathing. If you're mouth breathing, you're using a different muscle set. You're breathing much more shallow here up in the upper lungs. The mouth does not offer the filtration, the warming of the air, or no nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is a potent vasodilator, which is what you want to improve that gas exchange, particularly at night, all through the night. So you can enter into the deep restorative sleep that you mentioned, rapid eye movement. So we really want to enter that rest and digest phase of sleep. You can only do that if you're nasal breathing and you're comfortably nasal breathing. If you're mouth breathing, if you're snoring, you are struggling to get air. You're struggling. And so with that, your sympathetic system is not allowing you to really go into that nice parasympathetic state for that rest and digest that we need for that the reparative processes. Our cells are very active, repairing, doing these types of processes at night. So if we're in that constant sympathetic state and we're hypervigilant, even though you're not going to know it, you're not going to remember it as much, but you're going to feel it all day long. Your health is going to start really manifesting itself with poor laboratory work. That's what was happening to me, Kimberly. And that was a huge motivation for me to get myself out of that hole. And what can I do to turn this around so I can convert back to healthy nasal breathing, not have that open, dry mouth, the oral issues that can come with that as well. Dehydration, your saliva is not as it should be, increased risk for cavities, inflamed gums, and the list goes on and on. An entity that's also coming out is called wake-up strokes. Wake-up strokes is associated with dehydration. Well, guess what happens if we have our mouth open, even just say 2, 3, 4, 5 hours a night? But think about that. If your mouth is open even for 1 hour a night, think of the incidental losses in evaporation. As we're sitting here right now, we all are having incidental losses, right, through our skin. But when you have the open mouth position, think of how much more you're getting dehydrated. It spans so many disciplines with our overall health. We need to be talking about the neck up strength and function a little bit more, I think, when we talk about longevity, when we're talking about wellness, quality of life. This area up here is what gives you your most quality of life. It really is to eat, to have strong jaws, maintain your bone within, not lose your teeth. All of these really important things as we go through life. I mean, that's one of my goals. My goal, I want to die with all my teeth and I want to die with all my organs.
Well, because I
Yeah.
know that we can get results because I've seen them in my own life. That's why I wanted to just talk about this. And first of all, I think it's exciting that there's actually something that we can do about it. And I am a nutrition and wellness coach. I have many clients come to me that aren't sleeping well, they are snoring and all of that. And I do handle part of that from the inflammatory aspect. What do they need
Right.
to do to shut down inflammation? The long haul, but we can get some things going immediately. And by the way, I'm going to put in the description below a link for my 7-day reboot, which is 7 days of clean eating that can really help with inflammation, shutting down inflammation, get you clean eating and on the right path. I want you to tell us about the amazing product that you have come up with
Awesome.
that can help them now.
And very excitingly, I have three patents on this. So I'm very thankful for that. I know for the methodology with this on how to really engage the tongue, the oropharynx, the muscles that surround our joint here, the temporomandibular joint. People, kind of overlook that keeping the muscles strong and working in harmony around the joint is really, really important too for this process. Because if your mouth is chronically open, you're impacting your jaw in a very negative way. I created the tools, like I said, for myself to get myself back on track because my laboratory work was going down a very bad pathway. My husband was telling me how I'm snoring, I'm mouth breathing, the whole thing. I already knew it because I'd wake up, "Oh, where's my bottled water?" And so I just shifted everything, but I knew I had to really exercise. And so I created these. This is the butterfly tool. It opens like this, and you can use it in a lot of different ways in and around the mouth. And then the triangle also works a little bit differently. You can engage this and tuck this in your cheek area. You can swing it around. You can tuck these up underneath your lips because your lip seal is really, really important for this closed mouth position. It only takes a few minutes a day too, Kimberly. This is what is so great. So I can just show you, I'll show you the lip swell using each tool differently. And what I love about these, I can do them in the car. And so I can knock these out in the car. So it's a very efficient way to do it. We look a little goofy and funny for
And
your
I
face
just,
or something,
can we
you know.
pause and let me say something? Because guess what looks a little funny? Snoring
Snoring.
and mouth breathing.
Very good. Very good.
So,
Right. And we don't like the facial anatomic changes.
that's right.
Okay, that is a whole nother hours of talk, you all, about, and everybody should Google this, adenoid facies or long face syndrome with chronic mouth breathing, that you can absolutely get these types of anatomic facial changes, and particularly in our young children whose faces are growing. So your face will grow around your airway, particularly when you're a child. So you really want to make sure that your children are breathing through their nose. Those of us that already our bones are where they are, these are things that we can do, though, to help train ourselves to breathe slow and silent. Our breath should be slow and silent. We should not be a noisy breather at all. So we'll start with just the lip seal. And I really would say those that take the tool, focus on the tongue chapter and the lip chapter. Really go hard on the tongue chapter and lip chapter. So let's keep the lips nice and strong, because when those lips are not touching and they're open, they're weakening. They're getting stretched out, if you will, but they're open. The tongue is a low position down by the mandible, and it will fall back into the airway, and that an obstructive sleep apnea type of pattern where you actually have full blockage of air, and it's because the tongue has fallen back and is a mechanical blockage. So these are things that we can do to strengthen these muscles and get our organ, the tongue, back where it needs to be, lightly suctioned on the palate from front to back. So I'll just show you the lip swell. So I always say elegant in, elegant out. I made the tools so they're graceful. Even though you've got some saliva, you all, or what have you, it's okay. And you can always use, if you're super dry, you can always get a little bit of edible oil, tea tree oil, coconut oil, if you want to do it on the gums. And I had one of my dental friends who's using these for her patients, said, "This is great, Katie, because this is like a gum massage too." And I said, I was not focused on the gum health at the time. I was really focused on getting people breathing through their nose, having a strong swallow, because I see the end stages of this in the hospital setting, and I can see how it wreaks such havoc, and it keeps patients in the hospital. If you can't swallow and eat, you cannot get discharged. So, so that was just like another bonus when she mentioned that to me, as you're rubbing a little bit. This is like a gum massage. And I said, "Oh, this is so great too." I'm so happy that she had brought that to my attention too, me not being a dentist. So anyway, I'll just show you this. So just tuck it up. Under here. On her. And then, oh, and see, you can do that. You can do that hands-free. Look at how easy that is. And it's the triangular shape that allows the tool to be so stable. There is no other shape that'll flop around. So if you're a little loose, that will tell you that your lip seal is weak. Most people don't know they have a weak lip seal. If you find yourself as one of these people that kind of spits a little bit, or if you take a glass of water and you might have a little bit of backwash, that's a little sign. That's a little tiny sign that, yeah, you are starting to really have some weak lip seal. And we've all seen it with some of our elderly that have food all around their mouth and on their glasses and things like that. That's a sign of weak muscles, you all. It isn't because they all of a sudden became a sloppy eater. That's just these muscles starting to age, and in women, loss of estrogen. So that is such an easy way to do the lip seal strength. One of my other favorites is this one. From here, here. Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. And then hold. And you can multitask with these, you all. It's hard to talk and show these at the same time, but look how beautiful Kimberly's face looks with that. So she's doing her lip swell, so she's strengthening her lips, and she can contract her cheeks. So she's symmetrically building her cheek strength to get more contour and shape in her face, more lift. So these are the other benefits. The aesthetic benefits is a double win for this as well, which we all love. So we're helping our health, our quality of life, our strength, and we're also helping our aesthetics. Now, we know we're not going to get plastic surgery results, but we absolutely can get some toning and firming and lifting, which is a double bonus. And you can really grip hard with the lips. And like I said, you can also pull the cheek up. One of my favorites for snoring is the tongue row. This is a unique to this tool. So I like to put my two fingers like this, you all, and I will just place it right below my lower lip. And then I will hook my tongue over the other triangle and I'll row it. And I really want to row it back, and I'll extend my head back a little bit. And I really want to feel almost as if you're going to have a gag reflex. Those that are snoring, those that have obstructive sleep apnea, you will have a very strong gag reflex. It will improve over time. And so this is normal. So if you feel like, oh my gosh, I really challenged myself, that's a good thing. That's what we want to do. And you can always take it a little bit slower or easier if need be. But when you bring that back, and if you want to add the vocal sound, sometimes how we will do it with the tongue depressor when you're getting your physical exam, you can always say, ah, and that will also, people who do voice coaching and things like this also help. But this is a wonderful, wonderful exercise, and you can hold back there. Then you can also poke your tongue and stroke the top of your palate as well. You're building your tongue strength. This will help with swallow. This gets that tongue. It's almost when I feel like when I'm done with this, my tongue just wants to flop right back up on the palate where it needs to be living. And that's where we want the tongue to be living, lightly suction to the palate, not in a low resting position. There's so many. We can do the 2-step one and hold for 5 seconds on each side. So hold, and about the third rep, you are burning. You're getting the burn there with the muscles. So it's just a side to side. And again, the whole concept, you all, is resistance. This is just basic, fundamental resistance training of voluntary skeletal muscle. We're applying the same type of resistance training that we do for our biceps, our quadriceps, our gluteal muscles, our abdominal muscles. We're just doing it on a smaller scale. And the anatomy is a little bit different up here, but it is the same physiological concepts that I'm applying here with resistance training of the tools. And then you can do the tongue hurdles, even just the simple one with holding it. I like to put the base along the lower teeth there, and you can extend the head back. I do these, Kimberly. I shoot for 60 at my sink, and I'll break them up in sets of 20 when I brush my teeth at night. This is what I'll do because I'll keep one at my sink vanity. I'll also do some things at my desk. And like I said, I also do these in the car as well to keep strong above the neck. And so you want to protrude your tongue as far out as you can to the ceiling. I love this because it forces the tongue to go straight and to have the base on touching the lower teeth. The tongue has to go up and over, just like a hurdle. If you think of somebody that's running on track, it has to go up and over. So the tongue has to work a little bit harder to go up and over and through the hurdle. Plus, you're going to capture a little bit of resistance as you go through the triangle as well. And you can do that with either tool. You can do it with the single one, which the opening is a little bit larger, or you can do it with the butterfly, either one. So up, and that gets all of these neck muscles very, very well. And I love that.
Are you tucking it, or are you just holding?
I'm resting it right on the top of my lower teeth.
Okay. Oh, gotcha. Under. Okay.
And it protects the under surface of the tongue. So as the tongue goes through and over it, you're not scratching the under surface of your tongue on your teeth, particularly for those that may have a little bit of a tongue tie where the tongue cannot come fully up. I kind of have a little bit of that. And I noticed when I was doing this without the tool many, many moons ago, my undersurface of my tongue would scratch my lower teeth. So I really like to have that protection. And the tongue, again, has to work a little bit harder because you have to go up and over the bar, and you can't have tongue deviation. So for those on in healthcare or medical, I love this for those recovering from Bell's palsy, stroke, any type of traumatic brain injury, any of these types of issues that are affecting somebody that you might be taking care of. I love this because it trains the tongue to go straight. So I really love that, that you can use these tools unilateral or bilaterally. And there's just so much. It goes on, Kimberly, and then just straight forward. The slingshot where you push the tongue forward and you can hold 30 seconds, 40 seconds, about 30 to 40 seconds, you're going to start feeling the burn where you just hold it there. And so that you can see the variety that you can do in so many different ways that you can move the tool. So that's a push and a pull, right? That's so the tongue is going forward with that and you're pulling back. So you can hold 30 seconds, 40 seconds, see how long you can go until you can really burn and you can't hold that anymore. And then you can also do the repetitions as well. So you can do the repetitions. That's the slingshot. I made these funny names. My kids kind of helped me name some of these. One that is super advanced, I'll just show you this one that's super advanced for those, the tongue plank with a little bit of some controlled movement by the tongue. So this is called the tongue plank. And then I'm going to do a little bit of a twist with my tongue. This requires controlled movement. You have a nice wide open jaw, so you're getting elongation of your mastication muscles. And then the tongue, you're controlling the fine movement of the tongue. And all of your digastric muscles underneath the double chin area are getting tightened as well. Because over time, what happens, the hyoid bone, which is our free floating bone right here in our neck, where all these neck muscles attached, over time, that wants to droop and sag. So this is why somebody can get that kind of that big, heavier bullfrog looking neck that none of us want. So this is all these exercises are really great to help keep that bone and these muscles up tone as best as you can. Yes. And so that's a super advanced exercise. And you want to not cheat by using your chin or your lips. You try not to have any part touch the tool. I'm just going to finish on these last two that I really love for TMJ. Those of us that have a little bit of discomfort or jaw tension, this is a great way to release. And the dentist that has incorporated my tools into her MyoFit app, she named these, and I think they're fun, they're cute. She calls them the jaw swing. You know, she has little kids too. So jaw swing and a jaw jut. So I'll show you the jaw swing. And what I do is I'll take the butterfly tool and I'll straddle it. I'll kind of spread it open a little bit there. I'll take the apex and I'll just lightly bite on my front incisors. And then I'm going to swing my mandible side to side. And that helps engage what we call the pterygoid muscles. Or we have lateral medial pterygoid muscles that move the mandible forward and side to side. And those can be some big culprits with some of these issues with TMJ. And you can do it so you have 4 contact points doing that, or you can do it with the single if you only want 2. And they roll. Since they're round, they roll as the mandible moves back and forth. So you're rolling. You're rolling. So it's a nice way to grip it. You have something to grip and you'll do it longer. And for me, Kimberly, I knew these exercises exist, right? And I've added a tool to make us do the exercise better. It's a whole basis of gym equipment. It's a whole basis of dumbbells. Like I can do this all day long, but when I add resistance, it's a different result. I'll do this so much just sitting here at my desk or in the car. And I no longer have any more tenderness in this area here. It's improved my health. It's completely improved my health. What I love too is these big stretch neck muscles, right? So jaw jut forward, and you can always get fancy and put your arms behind your back. Shoulders are always down to get into these deep neck muscles called the scalenes. And those are our culprits, you all, for that forward head tilt that we all are guilty of. Heads down in the phone. The worst thing that we can do all day long, head down in the phone. And so you really want to elongate your neck, and you're getting those deep scalene muscles that are the culprits for that elder type of look that we want to avoid. So that is a wonderful, and you can hold. So when you do it, just hold with your jaw jut all the way to the ceiling as much as you can. Feel that stretch. And you can go side to side. Yeah, isn't that good, Kimberly? I know. So shoulders are down, right? Shoulders are down, or you can tuck one arm behind whichever side that you're working on here. So you can choose the side. If you don't want to do both, you can always just do one arm. But you are really going to feel that. If you start to do that every day, you will notice such an impact as well in terms of your jawline, in terms of your strength. I've had many people reach out to me that are using the tools and have incredible stories. One talking about choking at night. She was waking up choking on her saliva at night. Somehow I got on her radar being on a guest on one of the programs, and she bought my tools, focused just on the tongue chapter. And she said in about a month, she was not doing that anymore, able to sleep through the night, no longer choking on her saliva. And so I have a lot of different users that have shared I have someone with multiple sclerosis. It's helped her with her strength in her oral cavity as well, because we all, we all are trying to live the best life that we can. And this is part of it. This
Yeah.
is part of it.
Yep.
Nutrition, doing your nutrition. When I see your beautiful green salads, I say, oh my gosh, I want, I'm going to go make one of those beautiful salads that Kimberly is teaching us. It all matters. Everything that you're doing, everything that I'm doing, this is all about all of us that want to live a better life,
Right.
coming together and sharing what we can from our backgrounds. And hopefully, we're bringing something worthwhile to people.
Yep. Exactly. So
Yeah.
seriously, you guys need to just go ahead and order these. I would not sit here and talk about this if I didn't believe in this product. And I have noticed significant changes in my own life. And I'll be honest, I bought these for strictly anti-aging because I didn't know the backstory at the
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
But now that I know the backstory, it means even more to me.
Mhm.
And I told the story in the last video, which you guys go watch the last video. There's a lot of good information. You can hear my little story and the things that I have recovered from with these tools. So, like you said, not recommending, I'm sharing my testimony and the things that actually have been better in my own life because of these tools. And they're so easy to get to and use. And I actually use my bathtub. I know a lot of people have beautiful bathtubs. I don't ever use them, but I use my everything that's in my home. I actually use it, and I'll lay in the bathtub, and this
Yeah.
is part of my ritual. Or I have them beside my sink so that I don't forget about them. And it's part of my skincare routine at night. If I am editing a video, which I do all the time, I have them at my desk and I'm popping it in because you can sit there and it's no brainer. I understand it. And
That's what
yeah.
I do. Yep,
Mhm.
exactly, Kimberly. I do that in the car every day. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Hmm.
And you would not believe, well, you would believe how many people cannot lift their cheeks. They can't do
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
And so you train yourself to lift your cheeks and then you get that nice firm and lip like the youth triangle that you talk about.
Hmm.
But way beyond just the anti-aging. And it's so exciting, to not be snoring, to not have your mouth open, to not wake up dry mouth and have to
Yeah.
be concerned with any of those things. A significant piece of the puzzle.
A significant piece of the puzzle.
Yes.
Exactly. For overall health,
Yes.
head to toe fitness. Who knew that the nose brought so much? But it makes sense because it's a very prominent structure on us.
Yes.
So the nose really does matter.
Scientific studies where they took monkeys and they
Mhm.
plugged their nose and the things that they suffered from just because of that. And then when they opened back up the airway and they closed the mouth, they actually recovered from all of those things. And you can go and read about it yourself, but it's fascinating. And so we have a brighter day ahead of us. So
Yeah,
I
we
will
do.
put the information about the beauty balloon in the link below where you guys can go and order them. And if you use my link, you get a little discount. So I want to thank you so much for sharing this information and just letting people know that there is a positive side to this. There's something that they can
Yes.
actually do
Yes, that we can
to
do.
get benefits and you feel better. And
Mhm.
I mean, I've even noticed more tone in my lip. And like I like to tell people, I mean, this is true that jowls run in my family. And
Mhm.
we're doing okay here at
Mhm.
54 because they were,
58, soon to be 59.
and you
Mhm.
look amazing. And these were starting. And I'm
Mhm.
like, oh
Me
no,
too. I should be down
so
here.
timely, so timely. So it's backing up. We
Mhm.
can we can actually anti-age. I know not everyone's like me, but going under the knife, the needles, it's not my
Mhm.
thing. So you're my only hope.
Right?
And
I
we
mean, that.
can get results. And I
Mhm.
like it. Be patient. And I think that's
Mhm.
something that we need to remember is
Yes,
these
yes.
things take time, but they will happen.
Do a little bit every day. Just do a little bit every day. I made it easy so we can travel. You have the little purse, the little water resistant purse that you can rinse with. You're given the booklet. You have access to the videos. You can get the videos to your phone for a reminder. There's so much variety to do, but anywhere 10 minutes a day, do a few minutes in the morning. Like I said, if you're driving for 10 minutes in the car, knock it out in the car. If you're in a car line waiting for children or grandchildren, knock it out.
So
Yeah.
worth it. So I just want to encourage you all to get the product and start doing the moves, and then you can see
Yeah,
the amazing changes yourself because it's so worth it. Well, thank
exactly.
you so much for taking the time to show us some more of the techniques and also to kind of explain why, the why
Yeah.
behind, because that's so motivating to know that there's actually hope and we don't have to live with it and we don't have to do all these crazy things.
It's going to take a little bit of effort, but that's why we're here.
That's right.
We're big
Yep,
communities to support each other. So,
exactly. It's worth it.
absolutely.
All right. Well, I want to
All
thank
right.
you guys so much for being here and taking the time to watch. And if you would do me a favor and help out my channel if you enjoy being here and subscribe if you haven't already done that, share this information with others that you know could benefit from it and your fellow snorers and mouth breathers so that they can recover too. And you guys have a great day.
Yay.